There's a new thing that is about now, um, which enables people to talk to dead relatives. Yeah. Um, and this is an emerging technology, and it's known as colloquially known as grief bots. Um, Now, it's a rather interesting concept. Obviously, you sit there on a computer and you have a conversation with somebody who's deceased. Yeah. Now, I'll go into how this works now. Now, I mean, as I keep saying, I grew up with popular culture. Watched lots of films and things. And the idea of these grief bots is not new. It's featured in a Star Trek Discovery episode called Whistle Speak, which I remember watching. And also, in more recent times, there was a series of programs, yeah, probably lost in Steve, but called Black Mirror, which Be Right Back, where a distraught woman discovers that she can create an AI version of her dead boyfriend. Yeah. And going as far back as the 1970s, I remember a film called Dark Star, directed on an early John Carpenter film, for any film buffs out there, or anyone that thinks John Carpenter is one of the most innovative directors ever, um, where one of the characters of a spaceship interrogates his dead captain about what to do in a situation. Yeah. Now, this is all, yeah, quite interesting that this happens. I'll talk about how this works in a minute. But I was remembering, I went back, going back 20 years or so. Yeah. I remember there was a couple of, before they became known as apps, a couple of places you could log on to on the internet where I played around with this concept of having a conversation with dead people. There was one about John Lennon, funny enough, where you could sit and ask John Lennon, like in an interview situation, questions and get a reply. Yeah. And also Jack the Ripper, easy enough. Yeah. Yeah, I think these were done by some students or something. It was an experimental thing, obviously. Um, okay, the John Lennon just took ideas or think quotes he said, and we just throw back at you. It pick up quite simple. I'll say simple, it's still clever programming in there. Yeah, just what you would do, and probably had a matrix of replies and come back at you. Yeah. Um, was it like sitting there with John Lennon? I mean, John Lennon always gave interesting interviews, and you're never quite sure what he was gonna say anyway. Yeah, if you ever watched John Lennon interviews, and he was a very, for me, he was the most creative element of the Beatles and a great artist. But yeah, he was also very eccentric in many ways. And yeah, obviously Jack the Ripper was just based on material that was available. They just put the thing there, kicked off with words. The only thing it didn't respond to was, "Who are you?" And he said, "You'll have to catch me first." Nothing like that. So not really, not really great, but a bit of fun if you consider, yeah, discussing things with a deceased mass murderer fun. Great. Now, obviously, the more recent ones does use quite sophisticated AI on different levels. The one I was reading about yesterday has actually been developed by a games developer, created by a games developer. Yeah. And you pay your bucks and you get entrance to this. Yeah. So there's you, grief stricken. Yeah. I don't know if anyone's lost anyone recently. I don't want to bemoan, yeah, decry it, but yeah, grief stricken. And this is program here that will enable me to have a conversation with my deceased relative, whatever reasons you want to do that. But before it starts, it asks you 100 questions about the deceased person. Yeah. Now the report I read from the person that did this, um, let's just say it wasn't overly complimentary I'm not going to say the name of the organisation that runs it and everything else. People can find this themselves and choose to use it or not. Just the report which I read said that it was actually of the person's father, and they said in no way was it like talking to the father. It exposed itself on quite a few levels. Yeah, the father unfortunately died quite early in life due to, well, recently, but yeah, before his time, due to an accident. And he was quite an adventurous type. Yeah, put that in and everything else. So built a profile, if you like. It's when the person questioning asked, "What are you listening to? What music are you listening to?" And the father says, "I'm here listening to classical music." And this person said in his life he never listened to classical music. Yeah. So I think it exposed a slight
He
misalignment.
could have started listening to classical music after he died.
I suppose so, yeah. Going up there with wherever it was, yeah. Tranquil and everything else. Yeah. There's a few other questions there that didn't really align with reality. Yeah. Funny enough. Yeah. So yeah, she just thought the replies were variable and overall wasn't a good experience. Did ask if England will win the next game because England were due to play, and they said no, they're rubbish, they won't win. Yeah. Well, asking if England are likely to win the next game. Sorry, it's a bit of a strange one. But there are more sophisticated systems being developed, um, which have been developed. And what happens is the data it goes into social media, the person's individual social media, and other aspects, and possibly other things it may pick up about this person. It builds a profile, a model, and there you are. You can have it at your funeral, or somebody can have it at a funeral, whether the deceased agreed with it or not, and just have a video screen, which I've seen in Brazil, funny enough, just pictures on a reel. But this is actually an almost talking and giving almost an overall appraisal of everything, or people can actually go and speak to the deceased, as it were. Again, yeah. Now, I'm reminded of this now. I've watched quite a few films and everything else, and obviously, I have a faith, which means I don't necessarily agree with it, but it reminds me of the 18th century spiritualists and even modern spiritualists. Yeah. And if anyone's a spiritualist, hey, knock yourself out. Where people would go to them and almost like, I'm seeing something, I'm seeing something. What am I seeing? I'm hearing a T, I'm hearing a T. Yeah. I don't know, but it does strike me as a little bit that, especially if you're asking something 100 questions or you're having to use information that's out there. So my question to you, Steve, is obviously when I was talking about the films earlier, especially Dark Star, where they actually had probes going to the guy's brain or the character's brain, and they were kept in it alive, which is a bit, yeah. We can talk about that possible. It's possible now, but yeah. Uh, do you think any of this is a good idea, or do you think there should be restrictions on it, or other things? So the question to you is, what's your overall opinion of all this?
So basically, it's voice recognition software.
Mm,
And every time we phone up a company
mm,
and get put through to their software,
yeah.
through to their switchboard,
Mm,
we we listen to it every day.
yeah.
Um, there's even one for teaching English, believe it or not.
Yeah. I know you're aware of it. Yeah.
A bit impersonal, but it's there.
Well,
And AI can be useful. I think in this case, if you're profiting off the sadness of somebody for something that you know is not real, then that's a bad thing.
mm,
And some could argue that you're profiting off by making somebody happy, but it isn't what it says on the tin. You are not talking to a dead person. You are being listened to by a computer. It's interpreting what you are saying, and based on the information that it has, it's giving you answers that perhaps, either you do want to hear. It's like what you were saying about the spiritualists,
Yeah.
and also what I used to do when I was a kid with the Ouija board,
Mm.
and you'd have a group of kids that come around and put a tumbler on a board, and is anybody here? Yes, no, and everybody complained that somebody was moving the finger. But it's look, it's voice recognition. It is what it is. It's voice recognition software. It's like going on a Google search,
Yeah.
and it's sometimes if you ask AI, if you ask this Chat
Yeah.
GPT,
Yeah.
to give you a poem about something in a positive light, it will do.
Yeah.
If you ask it to give you a poem in a negative light, it will do also.
Mm.
And so it depends on what's being programmed in the program
Mm.
in the voice recognition. So as long as people understand that it's a game,
Mm.
basically it's a game.
Yeah.
I can't believe any. It's a little bit like those sex bots on the internet.
Yeah.
Where you're talking to somebody, a woman. This is what I've heard, of course.
Yeah.
You're talking to a voluptuous woman, which is all CGI,
Yeah.
and she's trying to lead you on in a conversation.
Mm.
You know, it's a little bit. In the old days, it was used by the telephone,
Mm.
so I
Oh yeah. Yeah.
understand.
Yeah. The
You know,
lines. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I've never.
So
Yes.
so it's different strokes for different folks, if you like. Some using voice recognition software to run their switchboards. Some are using it to make money if you are a lonely deviant, and some
Yeah.
now it appears they are trying to make money off the back of those people who are missing their forefathers, and I
Yeah.
and I that aspect I think it's a bit of a bad taste.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, that's always gone on. I mean,
We were talking about at funerals in Brazil where they got these things
mm,
flashing up on the wall.
yeah. I think.
In the old days it was called a eulogy,
Yeah.
and people used to say what they felt and what
Mm.
they remembered about the person.
Mm.
And there wasn't any need for this, let's make a song and dance about it.
Mm.
Unless, of course, it was Lionel Blair's funeral, which they probably did. You
Yeah.
know,
I mean, it's. I mean, it's a bit, well, I'd say creepy. Yeah, it's a it's like I said, I played around with it at John Lennon and Jack the Ripper 20 years ago, and I thought I didn't think anything of it. Um, it was just something I came across. Um, yeah, I'm interested in the technology and everything else, and that's what I mean when people talk about. To me, it's not AI. As I always keep saying, it's what I would name applied information. Yeah, can put it. Yeah, I mean, it does. It does. I mean, this sort of exploitation. I mean, yes, it's what spiritualists used to do. I mean, there was some found in the 18th century found to be frauds, like the clicking. They used to
well, they
put.
all are, sir. They all are.
I again, I got to go off. Not go off track here, but as a Catholic, yeah, we don't believe in spiritualists. Okay, Catholics have been encouraged not to involve in a Ouija board, as you said as well. We're encouraged not to use it, just in case there's a chance that somebody might actually have the gate to open it. And yeah, I mean, any of these things are they play on your mind at least. Yeah, okay. You used to mech around, and yeah, you were probably the guy pushing the glass around. If I know you, Steve. Yeah, or the
I'm trying to pull it back. I was trying to pull it back.
yeah, but whatever. But it's a yes and no and everything else, which okay, spelling out names and all that. I mean, I often felt sorry for the deceased, if it was like a wife trying to contact her husband, the husband's probably up there going, well, when I was down there, where's this? What do I do with this? Well, when I was down there, you knew everything, so why are you bothering me now? Yeah. I'm just here doing me fishing every day. I'm quite happy. Leave me alone. I'm in peace. Um,
For goodness sake, I've told you before, the keys are on the mantelpiece.
yeah, I mean, I can understand people grief. I mean, the case I read, this woman missed her father. Yeah, okay. I mean, but yeah, she knew what she was going into, and it must have been easily parted with her money, and then she wrote a report about it. Yeah. Um, I think you should always keep. I don't think I mean, people say you got to let go and everything. I mean, I've seen films of this where people still see. I watched a film the other day, quite a good film actually, but yeah, it's not connected with this. So, but yeah, where a young girl, she lost her mother, and she kept picturing her mother helping her in situations. Yeah, and that's it. You
That,
hold memories. Yeah.
that happens. That happens. When my dad died,
Mm,
it took me a long. Well, I'd say it took me a long time. It took about 6 months to
mm.
carry on as normal.
Yeah.
Before then, you get these flashes, these images, these
Yeah.
flashes, and
Of course.
you do something and you get this flash. I remember doing that
Yeah.
with my dad.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
You know,
yeah. To say, yeah, it's something that yeah, I've not experienced yet, and hopefully many more years before I have to deal with that. Um, yeah, it'd be worse for me because I'm, yeah, like yourself, many miles away. Yeah, but
to
it's
get
a,
up, but I just channel my attention into my kids.
yeah, yeah,
That helped me a lot.
yeah. Well, that's probably yeah, well done. But yeah, it's no, I mean, I've honestly believe you're a good father, Steve, having met one of your kids. Um, yeah, not judging. Yeah, it's a not unqualified to judge. Um, yeah, but yeah, I think grief is a very important thing. Um, I mean, again, with faith or religion or anything else that can help you, I mean, I came from a situation where you pray for the soul of the deceased. Um, Sometimes they may be there to guide you in ways that you don't know. Yeah, by different ways, and I can't really get into this. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's very often, yeah, you think, well, how would this person have helped me? I mean, yeah, you still will talk to your parents about situations they probably can't help you with, but they're the one people you can talk to in this earth. Yeah, so why should that stop when they've gone? Yeah, you've got your own profile in your mind of it. You don't need outside stimulants to do that. Yeah, and you are pre-programmed with some of their DNA anyway, whether we like it or not. I mean, they're finding this more and more that, yeah, that sometimes, yeah, we'll have characteristics and actions that aren't taught. They're automatically, which is again probably another podcast at some point. But yeah, um, something I don't know that much about because I'm not that way. But yeah, it's only the technology. So yeah, I agree with you. It's interesting you sort of saying, I just thought of this, it's like now we have Zoom meetings where at the beginning of a Zoom meeting, we do say, is there anybody there? Can you see me? Can you see me? Is there anybody there? Like we do sometimes before we go on air. Yeah, can you hear me? Um, yeah, I think it's interesting. I think to round up, if people want to go on these things, okay, that's personal choice. Be aware. It's I think it's a mirror of you. And I think that's what it is. The one that asks 100. I looked at the website this morning that asks 100 questions, and I didn't just subscribe. I looked at it and I'm thinking, yeah, it's a game. It's done by a games developer. It's very clever, probably in some ways, but it's not real. The one that draws just on data is the glorified version of ChatGPT, where you've given a system access to data information,
Right?
and that's still dependent on how well it can process and understand it. It's like a glorified Facebook in a way that it understands your profile, therefore targeted advertising. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say that. Yeah.
Yeah, algorithms and things like that. Okay, sophisticated programs. It's not genuine. It's not real.
I think this sort of line of technology
Mm,
can be interesting
mm,
if applied to the right
yeah.
thing.
Mm,
You know, this thing about living in fantasies,
mm,
not my cup of tea, and so I think that it's a bit of a waste of time if
yeah.
you're investigating all this technology
Mm,
and you're discovering all these ways to do something
mm,
just to apply it to something that is basically, like you said, again,
yeah.
just it just seems to be an awful lot of waste of energy and poring over data and poring over how, computer science and all this. It just seems to be a waste. If it was to be applied to something that, that might enhance, like I said, like a sort of a studying
Yeah.
application, that can help a student advance in their studies in a friendly way, user friendly way. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's a um yeah, I mean, yeah, it's I mean, yeah, we have technology and it's always the thing, how do we apply the technology? I think it will probably fall by the wayside. Um this thing. But the application is there. I mean, okay, it could help you said studying. I mean, I suppose in theory you could have it might sound odd. I think it would be useful if you actually could have a conversation. You probably have the ability to have a conversation with yourself and then realize how stupid you sounded on occasions. Starmer, I'm talking to you. Ed Miliband, I'm talking to you. Yeah, maybe there could be an application here for you. Maybe you should be looking at this to actually get a playback of how you sound to us normal people.
They probably already have, and they probably love it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's it. It's a, yeah, it's again, yeah, as you say, an application of this technology, which is incredible. I mean, I don't, as I said, it's applied information for me. It's not artificial intelligence. I can unplug it any time. Yeah, um, which isn't intelligent for me. Um, and like you say, unfortunately, yeah, we phone up somewhere and we're dealing with an AI system. Yeah, but again, that's just information. Do you want to speak to this person, that person? No, no, no. What's this? What's that? It's just AI. It's just information you're giving it. And that's exactly what we're doing. It's got no emotion. Okay. Am I threatened by
Um,
in my
I,
profession?
I imagine one of these programs saying, "Don't cry. Did I make you cry? Don't cry."
Yeah.
Even if you didn't, you will be.
Yeah. Well, I,
Don't cry, you useless piece of shit.
I quite often say that to people anyway. Yeah.
Me.
Yeah. You,
But perhaps more often than I should.
yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. Oh, well, that could be it. Yeah. A piece of an AI program is more useful to humanity than you are.